Are You Afraid of the Dark is one of the all-time greats when it comes to teen horror. I could and have raved for hours about this show, and my love for stories and storytelling grew exponentially as I devoured the episodes as a kid. Also, I got unexplained night terrors around this time in my life, but I'm sure that's unrelated. I've covered every episode of the original 7-season run, except for 3, or 1, depending on how you look at it. There's one story told in 3 parts that is far different than every other episode in the series, because instead of being a story told by the Midnight Society, it's an unfinished tale told about the Midnight Society, one that they have to finish, and in doing so, they become parts of the story themselves. It's a wonderful way to finish off a series, not to mention we get the return of an old favorite storyteller. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the Are You Afraid of the Dark playlist, and submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, let's find out what happens in The Tale of the Silver Sight, the Are You Afraid of the Dark movie. The Tale of the Silver Sight is incredibly ambitious in its storytelling. It also moves very, very fast, especially in the introduction. It slows down once the part title cards drop, but for now, hold on to your butts while we get set up. The very first thing we see is our old pal and the former leader of the Midnight Society himself, Gary, as he once again walks into the Midnight Society camp.
How about letting an old-timer sit in tonight?
I know we just started, but I've got to pause for a sec to just say how awesome it is to see Gary again. But also, man, they have like no build-up, so way to just like drop a huge surprise on us with no flair whatsoever. It's so funny. I love that Gary is back once again for this episode. It's such a great way to bring the different clubs together and give a great homage and final send-off to that original group. If only Sardo was in the episode, but alas, we can't have it all. That's not me like hinting that he's coming up. He's not in this one, but if only, but he's not. There's only one boy around the Midnight Society fire, and as Gary calls out, the boy just ignores him. And when Gary touches him, the boy turns to show a zombified face.
Well, it looks like you've changed things a little bit. When I was here,
Gary runs directly into his grandfather, who just appears out of nowhere.
Gary! Gramps?
I need your help!
And then Gary wakes up. Yeah, that's a lot. I told you, it's pretty breakneck. This being a nightmare makes sense for these sudden and strange scenes, but when Gary wakes up, his phone rings and his grandma tells him that something awful has actually happened to his grandfather, and he passed away in the night.
No.
We're not going to get too sad, but obviously the death does hit Gary pretty hard, especially in combination with that strange dream that he had the night before. I do have to bring up that Gary's grandma is a very familiar face to the series. We saw her previously as Hermione in The Tale of the Walking Shadow, and before that she made appearances in The Tale of the Lonely Ghost and The Tale of the Room for Rent, and she was one of the witches in The Tale of Watcher's Woods, and maybe more, but that's what I can remember off the top of my head. Anyway, she's a very familiar face, so it's pretty cool to see her here. The grandma tells Gary that the grandpa was acting strange and rambling about something.
What happened?
He came home, upset about something. I've never seen him in such a state. He was angry and frightened. I tried to calm him down, but he was all wound up, and his heart wasn't strong enough to take it.
The only thing the grandma knows is that whatever Grandpa was mad about has something to do with Gary, and a note that he left for Gary to open in case of his death. The note is wrapped around an old shard of a record that has the words,
Listen to the music.
written on it. And as Gary reads the accompanying note, he realizes that his grandpa described something that feels strangely familiar.
It's my dream.
At this point, Tucker comes over to comfort the grandma, and after a quick reuniting, the brothers discuss the note. The reuniting really is just brief. It has just as little flair as the Gary introduction thing. Just, I don't know, I would have liked a little bit of pizzazz. Having the two leaders in the room for the first time, like, give us a little confetti. I mean, they did just find out their grandpa died, so like, black and white confetti. It's gotta be like somber, but like, poof, yay. Anyway. Something in the note leads Gary to inform Tucker that he'll need help from the current Midnight Society, and Gary is in luck because there's a meeting scheduled for that very night. Traveling and time don't really exist in this episode. The pacing doesn't allow for it, so the next we see, it's night, and we're meeting the Midnight Society once again. It's a really cool scene as Gary gets to the fire and sees the new group. They have a bit of that flair that I've been looking for, but it's still pretty much right down to business. We get some really fun Midnight Society lore as Gary tells us about his grandfather and the founding of the very first Midnight Society. It started out as a group of 5 and has been passed down through the generations. He even points out that the stone storyteller's chair was made by the grandpa's founding group, which is, I mean, it's just such a fun piece of club history to be added to this weird little chair that we've seen for like 80 stories.
Wow, that's a lot of stories.
Gary says he'll be telling the story tonight, but it isn't his story. It's the final story told by his grandfather.
It's about 5 best friends who got this charm from a magic shop.
Like the Magic Mansion.
Yeah.
Hey Andy, listen man, that's my job. The Magic Mansion is the name of Sardo's shop. It really took the thunder from me, Andy, you freaking jerk. The story is framed as fiction, but it's clearly the history of the founding members. It's about 5 friends who find a magic trinket called the Silver Sight. And just like the trinkets of their stories, this one had magic that really worked, but they quickly found that the magic was twisted and would harm whoever used it.
They thought it was a good luck piece, but they soon found out the only luck this charm had was bad luck.
The club members decided not to use the Silver Sight, but someone in the club thought they knew better than the others, and they did use the trinket. The only explanation we get is that, and I quote, "horrible things started to go down, so we know that whatever happened is very serious." This put a divide into the Midnight Society, and one member no longer trusted the others, and they ended up hiding the Silver Sight trinket. They then recorded the hiding place on a record before breaking that into pieces and giving one to each former member of the founding club.
And working together was the only way they could destroy it.
Cool.
Things with this story are left purposefully vague, with like what the Silver Sight is, who the untrustworthy member of the founding club could be, and even the club members' status, like as of if they're alive or even what they look like. Oh, one piece of information that we do actually know is that the founding member who actually hid the Silver Sight did die shortly after hiding the trinket, but we will be finding out a little bit more on him later. Gary's story ends with the hiding of the Silver Sight. It's clearly an unfinished story, and now it's up to the current Midnight Society to right the wrongs of history.
What kind of help?
Gramps wants me to track down the old Midnight Society, get their clues, find the Silver Sight, and destroy it once and for all, like they should have done years ago.
They then split up. Both Megan and Quinn are taking a founding member each, but the others go into teams of 2, with Andy and Vange taking a member and Gary and Tucker taking another. Each team will track down a founding member and get their piece of the record and the clue to finding the Silver Sight. So with that, the intro is done. Well, almost. We've got to have a fun little moment with Gary as he once again tries to spark the fire.
Haven't done this in a while. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story... Whoa. That's kind of not normal.
Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. But I'm sure they'll all be fine. I'm sure. Continuing forward, the story is cut into 3 major parts, each one focusing mostly on a group of 2 and their particular adventure and struggles with obtaining their pieces of the record. But there's a constant worry from the group as they remember that one founding member actually used the Silver Sight. They call this member a traitor, and obviously are afraid of them and what their greed for this trinket might cause them to do now if they learn there's a chance to reobtain it. Each founding member gets their own suspicious moments, so I'll play those up as much as the episode does for dramatic effect, so that you can try and guess without any overboard clues as to who the traitor of the group really is. Oh, and last thing. Remember that zombie ghost boy from Gary's Dream? Well, he pops up all over and he's real. Like, he's a real ghost, not just part of a story, so, I mean, yeah, it's kind of wild, pretty cool. Anyway, that's all the setup officially done, and now we can get on with part 1, The General. In this part, we follow Gary and Tucker as they go to meet with a man known as General Kandel. Well, he's known as that in this episode, but man, I know him as Shandu the Magnificent. I love these actors reoccurring from some episodes. Like, it makes me feel like they are the inspiration behind the actual characters in the stories that we've been hearing. Like, I doubt that that's what they were going for, but it works really well to add to the universe that they did set up with only a small stretch of the imagination. Anyway, the boys meet Shandu. Well, not Shandu.
Mr. Kandel, we...
General.
Excuse me?
You call me General.
Okay.
The General is surrounded by trophies and wealth, and he himself is bound to a wheelchair. Something that might not be significant, but like I said, I want to point out every suspicious thing I see. So a lot of wealth and then the bad luck of something putting you in a wheelchair could go well with what we've heard of the cursed Silver Sight. After mentioning the Midnight Society, the General takes the boys further into the mansion and gives them a picture of the entire founding group.
Take it, I have another.
Oh, cool.
You're slouching again?
He seems pretty accommodating until the boys mention the Silver Sight, and his face drops.
We're here about the Silver Sight.
Dude, his face here is so funny. It's like cartoonishly overboard in the perfect way for the show. The boys explain what they're doing and ask for the General's piece of the record. He says that they can have it, but it's in storage and will take him a little bit of time to retrieve. How suspicious. You don't have your 60-year-old trinket that is a literal broken shard of a record immediately on hand, General? That's awful strange. That's awful strange, man. Oh, he also says this, which is a bit suspicious.
I hope you know what you've gotten yourselves into. No one who has touched the Silver Sight has emerged undamaged.
The boys agree to come back later, but Tucker does see that ghost boy again as they're leaving, so something with the General might be off. We cut to the next day, and the Midnight Society meet at Gary's dorm room. One thing I really love about the episode are these little clues as to what the others are up to and what we'll be seeing when their parts of the story come up. Like here, Megan talks about how she didn't know she'd have to deal with something smelly, and Andy, he just lays it out for her.
Oh, you stink.
So we've got a stinky clue about how Megan's adventure is going so far. We hear from Vange and Andy as well, but all they say is that they haven't found anything on their founder yet, so, no real clues on that end. There is some pretty intense horror here as we see someone wearing leather gloves breaking into Gary's grandma's house.
Who are you? What are you doing in my house?
She runs upstairs and locks herself in a room and is able to call Gary for help. The whole scene of the break-in and the grandma's performance are so good here. There's real terror in her screams that put me a little bit on edge, and the ominous views that we get of the intruder are great for building up the mystery of the traitor. After the call, Gary and Tucker rush to the grandma's place to rescue her.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. Someone broke into the house. I locked myself in the bedroom.
She didn't get a good look at the intruder, but he kept yelling that he wanted the grandma's piece of the Silver Sight record, so clearly the intruder and the traitor are the same person. Gary is a good boy and decides to stay with his grandma here, but it's been enough time that the general should have the piece of record, so Tucker heads off alone to get the clue. Well, mostly he's alone because the ghost boy shows up and he and Tucker kind of like pair up for a few seconds.
You sure you want to go in?
The ghost opens the mansion door, but the general doesn't seem to be home. We do briefly bump into Quinn here, so that's kind of fun. He's after a picture of a girl that the general has and ends up just swiping it off the wall.
Donna Tilton?
Looks like her. Excellent. Hey, you can't just take that. Yeah, I can. It doesn't belong to him. I'll tell you about it later.
All right, so more on that with Quinn later, I guess. After Quinn leaves, Tucker is led by the ghost to a secret room where the piece of record is being stored.
What you're looking for is right in here.
What's in there? The Silver Sight?
See for yourself.
This secret room is so cool and also just like really funny. It's a big hallway lined with suits of armor from all across time. And if you're watching closely, you might notice that a few of them are slightly swaying. Well, the piece of record is at the end of the hallway, so Tucker just heads on down to grab it.
You better turn around.
All right, so clearly the knights come to life and it's so cool. It's the most 2000s fight music that pops on, and we see Tucker using swords, shields, a spear, like really anything he can get his hands on, and he's absolutely destroying all the knights. He's forced to the end of a hall, but once he picks up the piece of the record, everything in the hallway goes back to normal, and as if it never happened. And now Tucker has his clue.
Not all the eyes are brown.
With a final warning from the ghost boy, the first part of the story comes to an end.
It only gets worse from here.
For part 2, we'll be following Megan and Quinn as they track down their founders. Megan with the Tycoon and Quinn with the Homecoming Queen. Quinn is able to track down his founder, the Homecoming Queen, which is a woman named Donna, to an address at the local scrapyard. The second he steps through the gate, he's spotted by a junkyard dog, and the chase starts out feeling like a pretty fun and rad, like 90s action scene chase without many stakes. But then Quinn starts yelling for help and just kind of ruins the vibe.
Help me! Help! Somebody help! The dog!
He's saved when he runs into the owner of the scrapyard. I forget his name, so let's call him Gargar for garbage, and nothing else. After asking what Quinn is doing here, we do get a clue that something strange is already happening, because Gargar says there shouldn't be a dog on his property.
How come you have a beware of dog sign out front?
Because I ain't got no dog.
So that's weird. Obviously, Gargar here isn't Donna, but when Quinn brings up her name, he clearly knows of her, and he seems to know a lot about her.
You talking about that Midnight Society something or other?
The man is a bit grumbly, but he invites Quinn inside so that he can tell him all about Donna. So that's the start of Quinn's story. Now on to Megan and her search for the Tycoon. Megan's story is full of weirdos. It's such a strange one. She finds an address for her founder, Eleanor Gregory, but there's no house on the listed plot, and instead of finding a founder, she runs right into the ghost boy, who gives her some odd directions.
Actually, I'm looking for 224 Walker Court. It's not here anymore. Sure it is. Hello? You're standing right on it, nothing's there. No, you're standing on it. She's down there. Yeah, sure.
I also love the way he just slips into the sewer here. It's so fast.
I know what you're looking for. Really? What? The silver sight. If you want it, follow me.
So, Megan's part is taking her to the sewers. That would account for the smelly clue we were given. Check that mystery off as solved. The sewers are a bit scary. As Megan steps down, she hears the ghost boy laughing, but she doesn't see him again for quite a while. We do see this strange girl suddenly appear and start running away from Megan. The way the girl is just hiding right here is pretty scary. It's one of those scares that, like, you might not notice for a second or two until it just catches you. So Megan decides to chase the sewer girl, and she winds up in a whole underground home, complete with a fish tank, couch, and a car. You know, the essentials for living in a sewer.
When did I step through the looking glass?
I told you, it's a strange one, and it gets stranger as Megan meets the people who live here. A mother, father, sister, and brother named the Gregorys. Hey, Gregory, isn't that the founder's last name? It sure is, viewer, who sounds an awful lot like me, but we learned that the Mrs. Gregory Megan is looking for died. She lived a full life of fortune, but one day her luck flipped and her fortune faded away.
Well, it's as if she were cursed. Eventually, her empire crumbled. What you see here is all that we have left.
So when the Gregorys got rich, they made enemies along the way, apparently, so they're hiding in the sewers now, since they don't have any money to protect themselves anymore. A string of bad luck followed by death. Sounds like the Silver Sight was at play. Perhaps Eleanor was the elusive traitor. Well, Megan brings up the Silver Sight, and the Gregorys clearly know something about it.
Don't get out.
Mr. Gregory just starts ranting about how the Silver Sight is too dangerous and can't be destroyed, and Megan runs out of there. Before exiting the sewers, she's stopped by the Gregory son and gets a little bit of good luck.
You're looking for that broken piece of the record, right?
He says that he'll help Megan get the record piece, and I love his reasoning. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
If destroying the Silver Sight will get us out of here, then I'll do whatever it takes. Wouldn't mind seeing the sun again.
You know, no longer living in the sewers is definitely something worth disobeying your father for. That's a good call. That's a good Gregory son. But Megan will have to come back later when the dad is asleep, so she heads out, and let's check back up on Quinn. Gargar begins to tell Quinn about Donna, beginning his story in a way that makes us know that Donna is dead. She and Gargar were once the golden couple of their high school, but then Gargar started having a strange, yet familiar feeling string of bad luck.
I was a star athlete. Broke my leg. Got in a car accident. Nearly bought the farm. Then a fire hit our house. Family got out, but I ended up in the hospital. It was as if this dark cloud of bad luck settled in over me.
But the worst thing to happen was, when Gargar was in the hospital for his broken leg, Donna found another guy and broke up with him. Then she went driving with her new man, only to end up getting into a car accident. The man walked away, but Donna didn't survive.
This is gonna sound nuts, but I gotta tell you, it almost felt like there was some kind of force at work, trying to keep us apart.
Seems like we may know this force, a certain silvery, sighty force. And that force is at work now, as we see a chain break outside the junkyard office and a car begins to careen off of a trailer. It crashes into the building and nearly hits Quinn and Gargar, but they duck down and end up surviving the crash.
Ouch!
Man, Quinn just saying ouch out of this that's pretty awesome. Man, Quinn's pretty cool. Gargar starts to freak out, saying that the curse of the Silver Sight is back, so he knows about it too. And when Quinn brings up the piece of record, well, he's freaking wearing it around his neck. He says it's the only thing he has left of Donna, but he's willing to trade it to Quinn in exchange for a certain picture.
When I was in the hospital, I drew a picture of Donna.
You want me to get the picture? Fine, where is it?
It was stolen from me by the same guy who stole Donna. Lane Candle.
Lane Candle, he was in the Midnight Society.
Yeah. Get me back that drawing.
It's all wrapping together. Mr. Candle was in the crash, but he lived only to be wheelchair bound. So was he using the Silver Sight, or was Donna? Or were neither of them? There are still a few unknown members, so maybe the traitor is yet to be revealed. We see a very familiar scene as the group heads to Gary's apartment. We see Andy call Megan stinky, Gary get that phone call, he and Tucker leave for the granny's house, but this time we stay and see that Quinn joins the group.
Whoa, what's with that smell?
Megan's been in the sewer.
Nah, smells more like bad perfume.
We don't really get anything new in this scene, but it is fun to see it pop up again with a little bit more context. Quinn does get a photo of the Midnight Society, so he now knows what Donna looks like, and he goes to Mr. Candle's house to look for the drawing. We pretty much know Quinn's story from here, but we do see that he's let into the mansion by the ghost boy.
Hello?
Hello, Quinn.
Hey. My name's... Wait.
He and Tucker bump into each other, and Quinn finds the drawing, but now we understand what he meant when he said this.
You can't just take that. Yeah, I can. It doesn't belong to him. I'll tell you about it later.
Then he heads out of the mansion with a job complete. But he is threatened by the ghost boy before he goes, so... I mean, that's kind of scary.
If you keep going, you'll look like that picture.
Say what?
Ooh, that's kind of cool. I like that. I like that skull picture. Let's go check up on Megan. Once Megan gets to the sewers, this time the vibe is much less weird and way more just plain scary. Once again, she hears the ghost boy laughing as she descends, but this time, when she gets to the underground home, it's ransacked, and instead of the Gregorys, she finds someone who definitely shouldn't be there.
Mr. Gregory? Are you? Lane Candle!
General Lang Candle.
Candle says that he's like the Midnight Society because he wants to track down the Silver Sight to destroy it. But Megan doesn't believe him.
You want their piece of the record. You're the traitor.
Or is he? He is. What a twist. So General Candle is the traitor, but there's more to it. But yeah, that's pretty much the question of who's the traitor solved. Or is it? He demands Megan tell him all they know about the record pieces, but she gets scared and refuses to help, only for Candle to threaten her.
How many pieces of the record have you found?
None of your business.
I can make you tell me.
What are you gonna do, run me over?
Perhaps.
Dude, imagine if this hard cut to Candle just comically backing up over Megan over and over. That would be so funny. But no, instead it's terrifying as General Candle stands from his wheelchair, showing he was faking his injury, and then he chases Megan through the sewers. I really like the shot of Megan hiding under the general as he shouts here. No real reason to point it out other than, I don't know, I just like how it looks. It's cool. Once the general is gone, Megan hears someone screaming for help. She runs towards the voice and finds the ghost boy with his leg trapped in some subway tracks. Also, she doesn't know he's a ghost like we do, so, you know. She tries to help him, only for this scene to get really intense as the train gets closer and things begin to shake all around them. And at the last minute, the ghost boy shifts his personality and just threatens Megan.
Leave the silver side home, or you might get hurt.
That's pretty scary. But that's a good threat right there. That would work against me. Good job, Ghost Boy. But it didn't work on Megan. She goes right back to the Gregory's, and she's able to just instantly find where the son hid the piece of record, and then she leaves the sewer, and her part is complete.
It's a race that has no winners.
Part 2 is almost done. We'll just wrap up Quinn's story real quick. He goes back to Gargar and trades the drawing for his piece of the record.
Many ups and downs.
Quinn then leaves the junkyard, but gets chased again by the dog, only after Quinn jumps the fence. The dog turns into the ghost boy, so good prank, bro. Part 3 targets the founding member called the Riddle Man. This is the adventure for Andy and Vange, but unlike the others, their part doesn't even start until the midway point for everyone else. We pick up at that connecting scene that we've seen a few times now in Gary's dorm room. We see Andy call Megan stinky, Gary get a phone call from his grandma and run out of the room, Quinn shows up and swipes the picture, only this time we're left in the room with Andy and Vange.
We've tried the town hall, we've tried the hospitals, we've tried the schools. There's nowhere else to look.
These two are after the founder who hid the silver site, and the only one that we knew going into this was dead. So it makes sense why they're having such a hard time finding record of him. It's a really fun gag as they're searching online and Vange is sitting on a stack of books to be a little bit taller, but one of the books she was sitting on is a phone book, so that gives these two a little inspiration for how to look up Bruce.
It couldn't be that easy. Could it?
While the pacing of all these parts is really quick, I do appreciate that they still tried to give us like clever ways to transition through scenes like this. They could have just had these two find an obituary with an address or something, but combining the search with a little joke about Vange being the smallest member of the club, it's just that little extra touch that I really enjoy that's all over the place in this series. It's so great. They do find Bruce in the phone book, and his address is listed as an amusement park. This place isn't abandoned or anything, it's just not operating for the season. For this one, Vange is the target of the ghost boy, and she sees him just pretending to be a fortune-telling animatronic when she first enters the theme park.
Want to hear your fortune, Vange?
That's pretty fun. They meet with the owner of the park, but it isn't Bruce, cause, he's dead. This is Bob, Bruce's alive brother. And also the other dude from The Tale of the Room for Rent. Like another familiar face. It's kind of fun having both the main older actors returning from that one episode. It's just a weird, unexpected little reunion. We're told that Bruce bought this place before he died.
You know he bought Playland?
He did?
Yep. Youngest amusement park owner in the world.
Oddly enough, Bob says that he was expecting some kids from the Midnight Society to show up one day, so they don't have to do too much explaining as to why they're here. He does take the time to bring the kids over to where his brother died all those years ago, though.
This was his favorite ride. One day, he climbed up to fix a cable. Slipped.
It's not gruesome or anything. I just thought it was really, I don't know, it's weird how instantly Bob was ready to just be like, hey, look, here's where my brother died. You guys want to see? Look, he was up there and then he fell, he died. Anyway, kids, let's talk about your old club. I love Bob, but it's just, he comes on strong, man. They bring up the piece of record, and Bob immediately knows what they're talking about.
A long time ago, he took something terrible and hid it, so his friends wouldn't get hurt. I don't know what it was. I think it had something to do with his death.
But remember, this founder was called the Riddle Man. So instead of getting the record, Vange and Andy get a clue with a strange drawing and an address for an abandoned home. It was Bruce and Bob's old home when they were kids, so it's not just some random place.
Do what you gotta do. Just be careful.
As they leave, Vange once again sees the ghost boy, but he only creepily shakes his head at her before disappearing. No ominous words or threats from him this time. Once they get to the house, the riddle is solved like right away, like instantly. It turns out Andy is just a riddle master and realizes the symbol is just a picture of a well, like the one in the backyard.
He hid the record in here.
Yeah, but it says he hid it down there. Oh no.
And this whole scene is pretty great. Andy lowers Vange into the well, but as soon as she's dropped inside, she begins to hear a strange groaning coming from the darkness below.
Andy, there's something in the well!
Then hurry up.
The noise gets louder and the intensity swells as Vange finds a different color rock with something hidden behind it. But her finding is a short relief as a ghostly face appears from the darkness below and starts to ascend. Vange escapes, but only a second before the ghost thingy, which exits as a plume of smoke. It's pretty cool. I didn't expect there to be an actual like ghost thing down in the well, but it ended up being a pretty intense scene. It was great. Oh, and Vange was successful and got out with the piece of record.
But we got it.
Know your true enemy?
And now we get our final title card, The Silver Sight.
After what we've seen, I'm convinced now more than ever that we've got to find the Silver Sight and destroy it.
With all their individual pieces collected, the Midnight Society gathers together and plays the recording. After listening to the recording, they look at the clues, and now that we also have all the context, it's actually solvable for us as well as the Midnight Society. Clue 1, listen to the music. Clue 2, not all the eyes are brown. Clue 3, it's a race that has no winners. Clue 4, with many ups and downs. Clue 5, know your true enemy. Andy solves this riddle, but there's a little bit of time before the reveal, so, get your guesses in now. Where do you think Bruce hid the Silver Sight?
Where do you think Bruce hid the Silver Sight? Right.
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh?
Before the reveal, we get the hardest scene in the entire run of the show. The Midnight Society stepping into the fog together, ready to destroy an evil trinket, all while a rock cover of the theme song is playing. This is... Dino, put me in there. Dino, I want to be part of this. I want to go hard with them. Put me in there. All right, guessing time is over because Andy leads the group into the amusement park and straight to a merry-go-round. It's pretty fun. We know Bruce owned this place, and then all the clues, the music, the going up and down, you know, a race in a way, but nobody ever wins. It comes together pretty good, and there's one final clue which the group catches onto as soon as they arrive.
The last clue. Not all the eyes are brown. I'm seeing a lot of brown eyes here, man. The silver side. One of the eyes must be silver.
After a minute of searching, Megan finds one of the mother horse eyes that is different from the other, and after scratching off some blue paint, they find a shiny silver orb, which feels warm to the touch and glows when they place their fingers on it.
Oh man, that's it. That's the silver sight.
The more of them that touch it together, the warmer the silver sight gets. So they all touch it together, and in a flash of light, the trinket falls from the horse eye and into Gary's hand. The instant it does, the merry-go-round comes to life, and the ghost boy makes another grand entrance.
Congratulations, you win! I tried to scare you off, but you were all too good. And now, the silver sight is yours.
We finally learn that this ghost boy is like an envoy for the silver sight, like how the Silver Surfer is an envoy for Galactus, you know? He tells the kids that the trinket is, well, it's made of old magic with the power to destroy one's enemies.
Anyone who stands between you and what you want, just tell the silver sight and poof! They're gone forever.
Through human history, it turns out that the silver sight has been responsible for wars and destruction, being the source of crumbling kingdoms and fallen cities, and as it destroys enemies, it grants the desires of its wielders. Only, we know that it twists those desires until eventually it ends up killing them. So, the boy is giving us some info, but it's not all it seems. The Ghost Boy is constantly bringing up enemies of the Midnight Society, and Gary is pretty sure that they don't have any enemies. That is until the merry-go-round goes dark and the traitorous Mr. Candle enters the scene.
Uh-oh.
Put that thing down, son. You're playing with fire.
Here's your first chance. Tell the silver sight he's your enemy.
This part's really fun. We get a bit of a classic temptation scene as Gary listens to the Ghost Boy and Mr. Candle and tries to decide which is his enemy and which is telling him the truth. The whole time the boy is just telling Gary to use the silver sight, really egging him on like how Palpatine was edging Anakin towards the darkness.
Do it.
Do it, Gary. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a lot more going on here, and General Candle does his best to explain, and he also reveals who the traitor of the group really was, who used the silver sight to get their desires and ended up being the cause of the dissolution of the founding Midnight Society.
Wasn't just me. We all used it.
What? No way.
It's true. It made Donna popular, it made Eleanor rich, it even helped Bruce buy this amusement park. But it wasn't just one person. We all used the silver sight.
What a twist. Also, I kind of lied to you about the traitor thing being solved. But, I don't know, whatever. In your face. I thought it was unusual how well off some of the founders were. They made pretty intentional mention that Bruce was the youngest person to ever own an amusement park, and then things like Mr. Candle's wealth, or Donna's popularity, or the Gregory's huge fortune, like they just don't fit with the usual tropes that we've gotten for the Midnight Society, which has always been made up of outcasts. So it's really cool that they were hinting at them all having used the Silver Sight's dark magic at one point or another. Candle also explains that they didn't know the Silver Sight was evil, and one day the demon inside it showed itself, and they realized it was bad, and then they started dying off, and, well, yeah. They all used it, but didn't know it was a bad idea. They were just kids. And we also learn that all the souls of the enemies the Silver Sight gets rid of are trapped inside of the trinket, and they power the Ghost Boy, who is actually a demon. So General Candle is actually a good guy, right? Well, I mean, he did fake a handicap, force an underground family out of their home, and he broke into Gary's grandma's house just to scare her. Yeah, so Gary isn't fully convinced that Candle is telling the truth.
I was just trying to put the clues together before you did.
It's not the most suspenseful what is Gary gonna choose scene, but they did their best to make us wonder if he was going to kill the man or the demon here, and in the end, he goes after the Ghost Boy.
Use it! Use it!
The true enemy. It's you!
What? No! You can't do that!
As the souls escape, we see the Ghost Boy transform into an old man and then a demon. It's so cool. And I just love how they wrap this scene up. All of the once trapped souls are now free and appear on the merry-go-round, waving and thanking the kids for setting them free. It's so silly, but I mean, it's also really cute. And as they're walking away, Gary glances back and sees his grandpa waving goodbye to him. So that kind of got me. That's super sweet. And with that, the Silver Sight is no longer a threat, and the Midnight Society leaves with another adventure complete, and their final story of the series ends.
Gary! Does this end the story?
Yeah. The story ends here.
The very final scene is of the founding Midnight Society. They wrap up one of their clubs, and we see a little glimpse of what things were like for their club, but that's it. And this concludes Are You Afraid of the Dark? Even though this isn't a story told by anyone, I figured it would still be fun to rank this episode in a similar way that I ranked all the others, so let's talk about the story. I mentioned in the intro that this story moves fast. Its pacing is wild, but they were still able to give us an amazing tale full of old history and demons, following every member of the club as they solve their own little mystery and come across puzzles and find solutions was a great way to trickle feed us clues for the story as a whole, while also giving us little vignettes of these characters which we've really only met through their small moments in the beginnings and endings of their weekly stories. Pulling the Midnight Society from their world of fiction and into their world of reality is such a cool idea. I found this story really difficult to script at times because they are purposefully vague with so many things that end up getting clarified in other parts or as we get context through the other members. Like I said, from a scripting standpoint, it's a bit rough, but from a story standpoint, it was a really enjoyable way to get fed this tale. And I loved that it allowed us, as an audience, the chance to solve things or pick up clues in each individual scene and part. The traitor aspect was, I mean, it was alright. It was a good way to give us a secondary antagonist while keeping the Ghost Boys part on the more, like, ominous end of things. The traitor reveal and us learning that it really wasn't a single person's fault that things got out of hand was a decent twist. And then the ending with Gary destroying the demon and all the captured souls escaping was a whole lot of fun. I think for the story, it's a great time. It focuses on adventure and character moments. I think it is a really solid 7 out of 10 for that score. The scares on this one are a mixed bag. Most of the time things weren't that scary. It focuses on adventure and the mystery aspect of the episode for the majority, but when things got scary, man, they were really good. I'd say we mostly got scares through suspense. General Kandel standing from his wheelchair and chasing Megan in the sewers, and Vange dangling in the well with the ghost face underneath were both great and suspenseful scenes that felt filled with actual danger in their moments. We've also got some of the off-putting and ominous moments, like basically everything the Ghost Boy says and threats about throughout the episode. So, I mean, yeah, that's definitely gonna add to the score. There's also some great demon stuff, like when the Ghost Boy transforms. That stuff was pretty scary. So yeah, most of the time I'd say this one was just an adventure, but there was enough scary stuff that I can definitely justify giving this one a 5 out of 10 for the scares. And now, the final bonus points of the series. 5 out of 5. Yeah, I can't choose moments. This one was 3 parts, and there are parts that I thought were special in each of them. Like, I love Tucker in the hallway fight. I love how weird the mole people are in the Megan storyline. I love Andy mentioning Sardo's shop and the little phone book gag. I thought the whole Carousel of Souls thing was really awesome. And then there's like the reoccurring actors that we've seen throughout the whole series. And of course, Gary is in this one. Like, Gary's worth 5 out of 5 bonus points alone. So the silver sight definitely gets the full thing. You know, I have to give it 5 out of 5. And that leaves the Tale of the Silver Sight with a total score of 17 out of 25, putting it among other great episodes in the series like The Tale of the Carved Stone, The Tale of Badge, The Gruesome Gourmets, and even The Shiny Red Bicycle. Thank you all so much for watching this series with me, and until our next great story, well, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I declare this meeting of the Midnight Society closed.
If you're looking for ways to support the making of these videos, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and we also have some sweet merch, so don't forget to check that out. We also have a $1 movie pass for early viewing on these videos, or you could become a full-blown member to get your name read out at the end of these videos, just like all of these lovely people. Also, I'm a little sick, so sorry if I sound weird, but I wanted to try and read all of these names in one breath, and I'm probably not going to be able to do it, but yeah, here we go. Nana Bonsai, Sage, Ranma 0029, WG, Teresa Rascon, Vance Dadley, God's Daintiest Squirrel, Jessica, Nicole, Kenneth D, J, JR, Cillian Green, Brian Wiggs, Kevin Solo, Nelson Rad, Viva Blasto, Chris Ovac, Paul A, Sarah JT, Jordan King, VS Mantis, Joseph Caldwell, K, Rory Bonklife, Zerbleen, April Farmentino, I Was Like Emilio, Stu the Human, Bogmeyer, Sandman, Queeby, Cora Corlas, Zed Suzuki, Reaver Approach, Shelly March, and of course, Igor DaCosta. I breathed right before Igor. I'm so sorry. I almost did it though. That was close. That's it. Thank you guys again so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
That's not silver, it's blue.
You just got coconut mauled. Share this with all your friends to totally coconut maul them.